We started asking app members what the biggest thing they were struggling with when they came to us was, and these two things were by far the biggest response. In this episode, we are going to break down two of the major things that our app users have been struggling with because it's a common theme across everybody, not just the people coming to us. So we're going to break those things down, show you exactly how to make those two things become a resolution, give you solutions for those, and we'll also pitch what's been going on with the SDE Method app. A lot of exciting things happen, a lot of excitement in the community with this new update. So the two biggest things our app members have been struggling with. This is just coming through as a questionnaire at sign up. If you guys have recently signed up for the SDE Method app, you've been redirected to this questionnaire, or we ask you to fill out this questionnaire. And the response has been great. We're learning a lot about you guys, and we're going to be making sure that content is shaped around a lot of these things. But blew us away with the percentage of responses that were these two things, and that is time and consistency. And those two things are directly related to each other.
We talk a lot about both of these things, I think, indirectly. But, I think these two things really are the main struggle across the board for most people when it comes to their health and fitness, not just our app users. But I think there's a reason why these two things seem to be at the top. And I think part of that is because people just have very high expectations, I guess, of what they think they need to be doing to see progress. So then they just don't do anything at all. No matter if you're somebody who's working as a stay-at-home mom and you have a little bit more flexibility, flexibility in quotes, because obviously there's a lot of unknown with being with your kids all day. Or, you're somebody who works 60, 70, 80-hour weeks. We all have busy schedules. I think that is the common denominator. And yes, there are varying things that impact that, but at the same time, there typically is something that you can choose to be doing that's going to help propel you forward, even if your time is like the biggest barrier.
And that's really the biggest thing, understanding that you don't need to set up these unrealistic protocols that you're only going to follow for a short period of time. So these shorter term challenges, these shorter term plans that you follow. And I know we talk about this a lot. And as I say this, we just launched our fall challenge, but that is built to help you create momentum. It's not built to be, a plan where you lose 30 pounds in 30 days. It's setting up a foundation of habits that you continue for 30 days. You check it off. You've got accountability. You've got this community around you, but you can build on that moving forward. So that's really the difference in what we do there. But what we need to understand is it doesn't take this huge overhaul to see improvements in our health, to see improvements in our physique, to lose body fat, to build muscle. All it takes is that consistency. So right now, if you're not doing anything, you can just focus on eating better food, and you can focus on reducing a lot of the processed crap that are just calorically dense and leading and fueling to a lot of this weight gain. You can focus on implementing these tiny habits. So we talked about this probably a month ago, but with our 5 pillars, training, nutrition, mindset, movement, habits, I actually recommend, let's say you have 1 hour a day, rather than committing that full 60 minutes to a workout, take 10 or 15 minutes to work out, or 20 minutes. And again, divvy this however you want, but just for the sake of this conversation, 10 minutes to your workout, 10 minutes to meditation, 10 minutes for a walk with your family in the morning, 10 minutes to reading a book before bed. So just coming up with one thing for each of those pillars that takes 10, 15 minutes to allocate that hour towards. Now, hopefully you've got more than 1 hour within the day to do certain things, so you can get, a solid 30-minute workout in, and then you can meditate and read before bed and stack some of these so they're a lot more efficient. But that's really the biggest thing. It's condensing a lot of these things that you think you need to do, but they don't need to be so elaborate. You don't have to be in the gym 60 to 90 minutes. You don't have to meditate for 25 minutes. It's just bringing these down so that they're bite-sized chunks that you can do consistently. And a habit is a small, this tiny little thing you can do every day that leads to a goal. But the biggest thing is consistency. So one of those two things we brought up. So we want to create this unbreakable chain of tiny, tiny habits. So I've used this in the past as an example, but if you had a goal of reading a book per month, the habit could be something like reading 2 pages per night before bed. So you can always check that box of reading 2 pages. It's not something where, oh, I'm so tired, I don't want to read a whole chapter, kids got down late, whatever. Regardless of what that day brought you, you can read 2 pages. More often than not, you're going to go above and beyond that. You're going to read 10 pages. You might read the full chapter, but you can always read those 2 pages. And just getting your foot in the door for whatever your habit is, just getting that small thing done will build momentum. Being able to create that consistency, you're feeling better about yourself. You're feeling better that you're staying consistent on these plans, these platforms, these regimens. So even the non-habit decisions you're making throughout the day start to improve. And that's how we create that 1% improvement every day, which leads to a dramatic transformation over time from these tiny little things.
And don't get it twisted. Consistency is not being perfect every day. I think a lot of people hear the word consistency and think that that means that you have to be on point every single day with no room for error. And that's just not realistic. I mean, majority of our clients are everyday people like you guys listening, and they're not perfect. They're not perfect with their macros. They're not perfect with their training programming. They're not perfect in any regard. However, the ones who have success are consistent, and the ones who are consistent have those slip ups and don't let themselves get stuck in that slip up and get stuck falling off track, for lack of a better term. They get right back on the horse. So if they have a bad day, they have an off day, whatever it is, an off week, they keep going. They choose to keep moving forward and keep showing up for themselves. That is what it means to be consistent. When you truly struggle with consistency, I think that is just telling you that something might not be optimal with what you're trying to follow.
It's not in alignment with your life.
It's not in alignment with the current phase of life. So we talk a lot about seasons of life and different phases and going through various types of goals, whether it be fat loss or muscle gain or reverse diet, maintenance. But there's different seasons of life, like looking at your actual life. So right now we're in a big season of transition in many areas of our life. And right now it's just not realistic. Like I pulled back on my half marathon that I was going to do in October, not officially, but probably not going to do it just because my mind is in a million different other places with what we've got going on. And to me right now, I'm okay with just running to enjoy running and just still doing my strength training, really leaning into strength training a little bit more again, because that feels better on my pregnant body currently. Still running. I'm still doing that. I'm just not at the level of half marathon training that I planned to do before we got pregnant. And it's okay. Like that's not me failing. That's me recognizing, hey, this is what is going to work for this season right now, this season of life stress that we have going on, transition, all of the pieces of the puzzle. Like this just feels better for me to say, I'm okay with waiting on doing that until whenever. But that's just one example of like, you need to figure out what is going to fit your life. And that goes for how many days per week that you train. That goes for how long your sessions are. That goes for if you are in a fat loss phase right now, is this the most optimal time to be in a fat loss phase? And I hesitate saying that because oftentimes it's going to feel like there is no perfect time. So why don't we talk about like, how do you know when to pull back versus when to kind of say, I know it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the ideal time. How do I know what decision to make when it comes to those goals?
I wouldn't even say that it's a recognizing it's time to pull back, but I would evaluate, have you laid the foundation first? So the complete opposite. Have you done the little things that are going to allow you to be consistent with a fat loss phase? So not even worrying about where your calories are right now, because if things are totally chaotic, you're probably not even tracking, or you're not tracking even remotely accurately. So again, laying the foundation, putting something in each of those 5 pillars. What are you doing for training? Is it a 10 or 15 minute workout? Great, start there. What are you doing for nutrition? Are you tracking? What are you consuming? Are you evaluating the amount of whole foods you're putting in your body versus processed foods? Mindset. Do you have some type of stress relief going on? Whether you're journaling, focusing on gratitude, or if you're meditating, box breathing, any kind of breathing technique, put something in each of those boxes and then focus on a more elaborate plan of bulking up or losing fat or whatever, because it doesn't matter what your goal is. If your foundation isn't there first, you're not going to be consistent with it, which means you're not going to see progress.
And you're not going to feel good. You need to feel good first. I think Coach Robin put up a post today on the SD page. I'm going to pull it up because I'm going to butcher what she said. But basically along those same lines, she said, the real flex in life is being healthy, not the number on the scale or your clothing size. And that kind of fits into this topic of conversation right here. Like, if you can't focus on the basics and achieve optimal health, nothing else matters. Like, it doesn't matter what you weigh. It doesn't matter what size clothing you're in. You need to always prioritize those basics before you take that next step to whatever the more specific goal you might have.
And we'll also point out that most of us are not professional athletes. So another component in here is, are you enjoying what you're doing? And that can change too. You shouldn't be changing your workout every single day or every single week or every single month. But as you go through phases of life and you've been doing this type of program for 6 months or a year, 18 months, whatever it is, don't be afraid to switch that up. There's no one right way to be healthy. There's no one right way to be strong. Maybe you're enjoying functional bodybuilding, and then maybe you're going to enjoy, focusing on more endurance stuff and going hiking and, just utilizing total body training to get that resistance training. So don't feel locked into one thing. Part of consistency is time and setting realistic expectations for what you can get in a certain amount of time. Your consistency to that. Part of it is how much you enjoying this. Mm-hmm. Doesn't need to be fun. Sometimes it's going to be monotonous. Sometimes it's going to be boring, and it is very important to your health to continue doing that. So it doesn't mean at the first sight of boredom you run, but don't be afraid to explore new options. Yeah. And that kind of ties back to our app. So we've done a great job creating different programs that fit different lifestyles based on time available, equipment available, based on, how long you can train within those sessions, giving you variations and options to condense those. We have some huge plans in the future for even broadening that a bit further. We've got some additional tools in there as well to help you with your nutrition, to help you with mindset. We've got some meditation practices to kind of get you into the concept of intro to it.
Let's break down the programs quick for anybody who's like, I don't even know what's in there. Starting at the very bottom, we have a bands and body weight program. So if you don't have access to any equipment at all, or maybe you're like bound to your house with your newborn baby and you just don't feel comfortable bringing them to the gym or whatever it is, you can start there. And if you have nothing, like, you can grab a couple bands. They're pretty affordable on Amazon, maybe like $10-15 max. Get a few different resistance bands and you have a quality program there. I think I can condense that one to 6 weeks. You can repeat it, or maybe it just kind of gets you started and then you can get something for after. But that's like our base, like, no equipment needed program.
That's anywhere?
Anywhere. And then
anywhere is the name of the program, guys.
Yes.
To be clear.
You can do it anywhere. A lot of people also use it for travel. So if they're using one of our other programs and they go away for a week or two, or they're traveling for work, they bring their bands and they do that one in their hotel room or whatever. So it's a great program to just throw in whenever you need it also. Then we have our monthly updated programs. So this is Move, Build, Physique Plus, and the new Hybrid program.
Evolve Hybrid.
So Move and Build are the same program. They're just a different split. Move is a 3-day full body program, the same program as Build, which is 4 days per week, upper lower split with an optional 5th full body day. So a lot of variation as far as what the amount of days and like the type of split that you like there. A lot of our endurance runners, cyclists do Move, because it's great to add in when you're, prioritizing more of that endurance phase of life. It's just 3 full body days. It allows you to recover really well. It's not taking up a ton of time. But with Move and Build, I really focus on a really well-rounded program. So we have mobility, warm-up in every single day. We have plyometrics to work on your explosive power, and then we have your basic strength. So we have a lot of compound lifts as well as accessory movements to help you just really be balanced overall. And then, of course, core work. So that's Move and Build, and then Physique
and Physique Plus, again, same program, different splits. Physique is 5-day. Physique Plus is a 6-day. Push-pull legs. So one's a push-pull leg, one's push-pull leg, upper lower. Focused on your traditional bodybuilding kind of split. There is more volume involved in this one. Relatively high intensities, but what you would expect from trying to go into the gym and get a great pump and focus on strength improvements, progressive overload over time, and really focus on improving body composition.
Yeah, all of our programs are rooted in progressive overload.
Yep.
But with both of those, Physique is more so geared towards those who go to a gym, or if you have a full gym available
Correct.
at your home. There are alternate movements for like a lot of the machine stuff, but it's definitely geared towards more of like your full gym.
Yep.
Build and Move can be done with dumbbells and a bench only, but you're going to see the most progress if you have a little bit more weight and more equipment to work with as well.
Yep. And we'll get this question a lot is, hey, which program should I utilize? I'm trying to improve body composition. I did mention Physique and Physique Plus are built specifically for that. But at the end of the day, if your intensity is high enough and you are progressing over time, any of these are going to improve your body composition. And your nutrition. That's a big component. Yes. But training specific
too. Like, which one should I do? I want to, lose fat and build muscle. Well, number one, nutrition needs to be in the right place. But number two, like, I've been following Build for 5 years. You've been following Physique mostly for the last 5 years. We both are jacked and strong and lean. So that just goes to show it can happen on any of the programs as long as you're lifting at the right intensity.
And we did just add our first featured program, and that is Evolve Hybrid. So what I have been playing with for the last about 5 months at this point is condensing these workouts. So still focusing on improving body composition, being as strong as possible, improving body comp as efficiently as possible. And again, in conjunction with proper nutrition. So these are shorter workouts, much less volume at a much higher intensity. So you're only going to see the difference of, if the RPE is listed at 8 for Physique and Physique Plus, it's only going up to 9. But if we're really actually true to ourselves and realistic with ourselves, that 8 is more like a 6, maybe a 7 on most days. When you go to a 9, that is 1 rep short of true failure. And I even explain in the demo, or not the demo, the video explainer for that program when we jump in there and talk about it. If you go to failure on your last set, not the end of the world. That's certainly going to be helpful. It adds a bit more fatigue. But the concept of this program is to minimize overall fatigue. We're keeping sets very minimal. We're talking like 6 sets per body part per week at that very high intensity level. But that has allowed me to break these workouts down to, on average, probably 35 minutes. If I need to superset them or triset them to really bang them out because we got a bunch of stuff going on for that day, I've done these in as little as 20 minutes. So I would superset chest and back, bis and tris, quads and hamstrings. I would triset chest, back, and shoulders. And again, I explained that in the description for that program. But that's also combining the Extend running program directly into those training days. So I have them listed out on day 1, 2, and 3. Again, you can swap those on an as-needed basis. They're just there to live there for you. And if you're not up to that or you don't want to do a running program, you can click the alternate exercise, which allows you to just swap that for any 20 minutes of zone 2 cardio. So whatever cardio of your choice you're enjoying, utilize that. Our Apocalypse Habits protocol is within that. Just basically demo videos or explainer videos talking about why we have those specific protocols in there. Just the things that we do on a daily basis that really allow us to thrive mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And we'll keep building to this stuff. This is just something we wanted an all-in-one place for your strength and your running and some habits to get rolling with. Mm-hmm. So that has been a hit. That launched this week. People have been raving about it. So I'm super excited.
And if you guys are in the app and using the new stuff or the old stuff, like, we're always taking your feedback into consideration. So if you have an idea or you would love to see something a different way, don't hesitate to let us know. That's how we make the app better. And that's how we make it exactly what you want it to be. And then the other, portion of the app I just wanted to touch on quickly is the running programs. So we have everything from beginner through intermediate, I would say. We have our begin program, which is like a couch to 5K. So if you're not doing any running right now, this is like your walk, run type program that'll get you running consistently for 30 minutes straight. Extend is the program that's in the hybrid program, and that's up to 10K distance. So if you can run for about 30 minutes straight right now, that's where you're going to want to start there. And then this will bring you up to 10K. And then we have our half marathon programs, a beginner version and a more intermediate version, just depending on where your weekly mileage is when you're starting those. So those are both 12 weeks in length, but again, constantly adding and updating in all areas. And then we have the pregnancy and postpartum programming. So those are standalone programs that will bring you through the entire duration of your pregnancy, starting at 4 or 5 weeks, all the way through to the end, 42 plus. And then postpartum, you can start it literally one day postpartum. I co-created it with a pelvic floor physical therapist, and it's just, that has gotten so much great feedback, which makes me so happy. So all of that is in there. It's all included in the price. Like, a lot of other apps charge you more for doing different programs. We include everything in. You
get the access to all of our libraries. If you're a new client, you've never used it before, you actually get a free month. So our code for September is Foundation, Foundation. At checkout gives you your first 30 days for free. But I want to keep this one short and sweet, guys. We saw that coming through. We wanted to touch on it. The main feedback we got, the biggest challenge a lot of you are struggling with is time and consistency. And a lot of that is just setting realistic expectations, and then consistency follows from that point. So we can condense time to be more consistent. Where can they find you?
I'm at Alessandra Skutnik.
I'm at Josh Skutnik.